Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Friday edition of 10 Questions with NBC10 Boston. Today, it's going to be a little fun. We're talking about basketball. Basketball is back. And so we'll be talking to Brian Scalabrine, who will tell us what he thinks about basketball returning, tell us what he's been up to during quarantine. It should be fun. Let's see if he can get on here. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm guiding him to get on this live real quick. Go to... So Brian Scalabrine will be joining us shortly. He played for the Celtics. If you don't know that much about basketball, he was actually a part of that '08 Celtics championship team, which we'll briefly discuss. How's everyone's Friday? Oh, there he is. Found him. Scal, it should let you send me a request to join this live. I'm trying to request you. There we go. Thank you all for joining. Hello. Wow, he has glasses on too.
Well, I had to sing out, and then I could take them off.
Yeah, you don't need the glasses.
Okay.
Oh, that's fine.
What's up?
How are you?
First of all, why you gotta leave us? I mean, what's the deal with that?
I'm so sorry, but it's still NBC.
You know, I have a problem. Let me tell you my problem.
What's your problem?
I like about 5 people, right? 5
Okay.
people I work with, and I'm this person, right? All the time, one of the 5 leaves. I don't understand.
I'm sorry, but we're still gonna be in the same building whenever that becomes a thing again, so it won't be too bad.
No, but will you go to the games?
No, but will anyone go to the games?
Actually, a really good point.
Right. Who knows?
Hey,
How's
Ben.
quarantine been for you?
Good. I know most people say not. So I don't like going out because I like when I'm home, I don't know there's a pandemic going on. I'm making chicken coops. I'm building garden beds. I'm like,
What?
my kitchen. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, right? But when I'm out, I realize like, oh wait, this is a big deal. The world is sort of backwards right now. So we gotta. Hopefully, this whole basketball thing would get like, you know, when basketball stopped, the world stopped. Hopefully, it could pick back up. And I know there's a lot of cases surging, so I don't know what that means. But I mean, for me, it's always this: whatever the rules are of life, I'm gonna find a way to thrive in those rules. It's just a matter of me figuring it out. So that's been. I decided to build a chicken coop, a shed. A barn.
Had you ever built anything before that? Look at that. Being productive.
I just went on YouTube.
Look, YouTube really has it all.
How can I do this? So I went on YouTube and I just figured out how to do everything. And
So you have chickens?
I got 15, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That is a fun fact about Scal. He has chickens. 15.
So I didn't have for quarantine, but
well, now he does as a result.
What's your buy during quarantine? Everyone has one. What'd you do?
I started working out heavily, like on a more regular basis. Huh?
Just at home.
At home in my apartment, which it sucked at first and I didn't want to, but I've been doing the Peloton. This is not an ad. The Peloton workouts, and they've just been really, really fun, and I actually enjoy it now. I actually ended up paying for the subscription after the 3-month trial.
I mean, Allie loves class.
Right, exactly. She's good. Wait, but second question. I did see, first you had that pasta sauce that we all clowned you for. Now you're pumping out spiked seltzers.
No, it's not. It's vodka lemonade. It's vodka lemonade.
Lemonade. Sorry. Why did you get into that? How did you even get into that?
So just like going on YouTube and learning how to raise chickens or building something or anything like that, right?
Right.
Just curious. And you know me. I mean, you're asking a question, but the answer is just it's clear to you. I want to know how things work in life. Basketball player and a strict, like only one thing. And by the way, when I am done playing, I went right into broadcasting, then I went right into coaching. So all this time, I'm like, how do things work in this world? So up to me and they want to do things. Obviously, I vet them and I'm like,
for sure.
It's not like I just say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Pasta sauce and vodka was like a really interesting sector to get into and to learn about. Yeah. So I just said, all right, I'll do it, and let's see how it works out. And I don't even do it. And a lot of people say it looks like I'm like chasing dollars. It's not about chasing knowledge. Building the chicken coop. I could have bought a chicken coop for about half the price.
Yeah,
but I'm paying for my education, my educational learning. Pasta sauce, vodka, chicken coop, redo a kitchen. It's all about learning and becoming, for me, better than I was. It's just a basketball player, which is nothing wrong with that, but it's just I want.
Dropping the gems for the people. So one of your former teammates, KG, he's supposed to be retired in August here in Mass. If I don't even know what that would look like, but I wanted to get your perspective. What is your favorite KG story that's appropriate for the children?
Well, my favorite story is when he arm wrestled Big Baby on the plane. That's my favorite story because it shows us, first of all, it's a great story. Big Baby was crushing everybody. I mean, destroying. Big Baby's a freak of nature, by the way. Okay. Makes fun of his weight, but he's strong, he's athletic, he's quick. Anyways, Garnett challenging him to the arm wrestling contest, 35,000 feet in the air. Yeah. And all that stuff. That's by far. Because he wasn't supposed to win that, but his will is amazing, right? But my favorite KG memory, and this is so funny because I've been doing a lot of Zoom calls and people ask the questions. And what do you remember most about the NBA? What's your most memorable moment? Mm-hmm. And most memorable moments is like in Phoenix, me and KG were sitting on a wall looking at the entrance to a hotel. And it's so funny because he is like really dialed in to everybody on his team. So a car will pull up. Let's say it's a Honda Accord, right? Car pulls up. He'd be like, "Hold up, Scout, hold up." And then like two girls get out of the car, right? He would say, "Oh, that's Big Baby for sure." Big Baby will walk out, right? Then it'll be like two Escalades to pull up, right? Two Escalades pull up. He's like, "Paul Pierce." Wow. Right out, right?
That's crazy.
He was calling every single one. And I was like, okay, coincidence, right? You can get it right. He'd be like, oh, that's Eddie House's people. Eddie House. Oh, that would be Ray Allen's people. Ray rolled out in a Sprinter, like a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. Bands, right? And he's like, wait, that's Ray Allen right there. So we're smoking cigars on this wall, and he's like nailing off, which is a good example of he just has a great pulse on his team. I've always AG's team is his family. He looks at everything like his family. He'll get in some verbal confrontations with his family, just like anybody gets in verbal confrontations with their family. Right. But knows each other's family like the person inside the group. And he knew his team. He knew his coaches. He knew everything about the organization. And us sitting on that wall and him nailing off the call was a good example of that.
That's amazing. And speaking of that '08 Celtics team, do you guys stay in touch? Is there like a '08 Celtics group chat?
I don't, but I heard that Rondo, Pierce, KG have one. So, I just saw Tony Allen the other day, and when he was in LA, he caught up with Paul Pierce. So I always like, when I see people, I ask, hey, man, what have you been up to? But, like, I'm not young like you. I didn't even know how Instagram Live works.
That is true. That is very true.
Like when it comes to like group chats and stuff like that, I'm sure nowadays that would be the norm, right?
Exactly.
It wasn't really like that for us. Or maybe it's just not like that for me.
Right. The NBA has definitely evolved since then. We're talking about the current NBA team, the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Enes Kanter. Some of them have been involved in the protests over the last few months. And you look, even your era of basketball, I think activism looked very different. How have you watched it evolve from players being able to take a stand and have a voice?
I mean, I think it is different now. I think it's almost like required, to be honest with you. Like you should, like these kids, and it makes sense. So everyone talks about millennials, right? Are you a millennial?
Yes, I am. Don't attack us.
So, like, when people talk about groups, right, I want to know why it comes up, right? I want to understand why. So here's a little insight on my life, right? As I grew up, when something was going on in the world, I had to watch the news. And the news was on at 6:30 to 7 and 7 to 7:30, right? I think Tom Brokaw would do the news.
Yeah.
And I'm a kid. If I wanted to know worldly events, that's how I got my information.
Right.
Let's fast forward to you, right? Or your group in millennials in general. Yeah. Think about what you guys went through. You went through the .com, 2001, 9/11. Mm-hmm. You guys went through the Enron scandal. You guys have gone through the real estate bubble and the crash. Mm-hmm. Of that. So you guys have been through all this. And not only that, but you have your phone with you. So you're coming all the time. Mm-hmm. So you can decide right then and there, like, this isn't right? I didn't even know there was things that were wrong. Right. I didn't know why we were in a war in the Gulf. I had no idea. Heard people say it's because of this. But Tom Brokaw didn't say it was because of that. That's the only news that I got, right? So my world was very small growing up. My focus was just, I want to play basketball. I played sports growing up. I want to be as good as I possibly can. The other worldly stuff, that's for other people, not for me. So fast forward to your generation. Now, I understand why millennials are like the way that they are. I understand why people stand up and they have to fight for something, because they've been, without, like, excuse the word, they've been woke to everything going on in the world.
Right.
I'm not putting my head in the sand. I'm not burying my head in the sand. Mm-hmm. I didn't grow up like that. I didn't have a cell phone until I graduated from college. And the only reason why I got one is because I was going to the NBA and my agent needed to get in contact with me. But it wasn't a smartphone. It was
a little flip phone. You know? The Nokia.
When you text, you got to be like A, B, C.
Right.
You know, like that. It wasn't like boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Twitter, Instagram. So I wasn't getting my news on my hip. And then I was focused on being a basketball player. So I understand the way that these guys grew up. I understand why they would have a voice. I'm sure, I am 100% positive that if I grew up in today's day and age, I would be the same way. But I just didn't. So I don't want to be a guy that, oh, you're not like how we used to do it. No, I want to have understanding. Why do you guys feel like you have a voice? Why do you feel that you should go out there and protest things that are wrong? Because you guys have been understanding things that are wrong for so much longer than I have. This is like, what's going on in the world right now is like, whoa, I kind of knew. But by the way, with all my team, think about it, my life. I was the minority in a situation where it was 95% black, right? But my never talked about social injustice, or they never talked about any of that stuff. Like, the only guy that would, being honest with you, the only guy that would really bring stuff up was Ray Allen. And Ray Allen, out in the hood, this is his words, not mine. Yeah. In the hood, it's really hard to get out. And I go, why? He's like, it's because anytime you try to do something better for your life, there's about 10 people trying to bring you back down, and you got to survive. And I was like, I had no idea. I didn't grow up like that. No one around me looked at me and was like, I hope you don't make it, because then I can make it. But I don't understand that. I grew up in a household. Now, listen, there's some different things. Like, I don't know my real father. I have a stepfather, but my stepfather was great to me, right? So it's not, I grew up I had two working parents. My dad was there to hold me accountable. I had such a different upbringing than young players nowadays. And it's so different. So when I see these guys doing it, I have to understand. Now, I don't fully get it because I didn't live it, but by me and hearing what they say, listening, being open-minded, now I fully understand, like, it's a different generation. And I'm glad people are standing up for what they believe in. By the way, I have kids. The only thing I care about my kids that they do is they have passion in their life. Whether it's for school, music, sports, whatever, have passion in what you do. So I can't be a hypocrite and want my kids to have passion and turn around and see Jaylen Brown do that. Like, he's clearly passionate about the stuff that he's doing.
Exactly. And to your point, you were a minority in a sense where you're that one white guy with a bunch of black players all the time. How do you think being around them like helped you evolve your view on the world?
I wish I would have had more conversations about the stuff going on right now, but I didn't like. So once again, in my shallow world that I live in, right? I only if you want to ask, do I judge people? Yeah, I judge people on how they treat me and do they work hard. Like, that's it. I don't like. I know like, and you know, I always laugh when people associate education with like doing something right. Like that is sometimes. Sometimes you go to school and it's really enlightening for you. But think about the late Kobe Bryant. He's one of the most like influential people in our time. He's also the most educated. Speaks like all these languages. By the way, did not go to college, right?
Yeah.
So how like Kevin Garnett, one of my favorite teammates ever. Jason Kidd played 2 years in college. Like I'm not like when people say college equals intelligence. If you go to college, all of a sudden you're smart. No, it doesn't work like that. There's all kinds of dumb people graduated from college,
right?
Who are, you know,
or smart people that couldn't afford to go to college
all the time. Yeah. So I think that like getting to know, like in the NBA, when we hear things about
we'll wait for him to come back. Everyone's talking about the sauce in the comments. There you go. You're back. You were gone for a while. Can you hear me? I think you're muted now for some reason. Scal, can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me. I'm gonna remove you and then hop back into the live. Maybe that will work. Thank you guys for sticking around through our technical difficulties. I don't know how he muted Instagram. That is very interesting. He'll be back. There he is. Bluetooth speaker connection. Thank you for that insight.
Okay.
He's back.
Okay, so there we go. So are we good?
Yes. It's loading, but I still hear you.
Hey. So give me a thumbs up if we're good to go. Are we good?
Yeah, I hear you. Yes.
Okay, we're good to go.
Got laughing emojis in the comments.
Okay, in the NBA, you hear about this. Okay, you got me, or
and you broke up again.
I never had this problem on Zoom. I'm just letting you know. Never had this
problem. Okay, you're good. Say where you just were. That's good.
Sorry.
That's cool.
If everything is perfect, they're going sideways.
This is perfect. Don't touch anything.
In the NBA, when we never judge another teammate. It doesn't matter what people say, because you never know until you you can only judge people based on how they interact with you, and I think a lot of people in this world love to judge from the outside. I think basketball has taught me I don't know anything about anybody until I know somebody, and that's how I treat.
Looking at the modern day NBA, we're supposed to be back within the next 2 weeks, but it's looking like Florida has almost 8,000 daily cases. We just had 16 players test positive. Do you think the NBA is actually going to come back?
So I want to ask you, because like everybody, when it comes to the pandemic or coronavirus, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about where you get your news from.
Right.
Like, I'm not more news than you, right? And we all sort of gravitate towards the same type of news, right? Article. So I said this back in March. When you hear people talking about how this thing spreads. Oh, it spreads by droplets. You see, I'm in 1,000 people. So I think this thing is here to stay. I think we have to learn to live with it. Now, I don't know how the NBA thinks. If you can clearly see right now, 17 players already tested positive. 16. You got 8,000 is down in Florida. Every place that opens, we all understand you can't just stay shut down forever, right? There's an economy, there's things that's how things work, right? And so I've said this back then, and I'll say it now. Like, this thing ain't going anywhere, and we all have to figure out the best way to operate our lives with the coronavirus. And if it's herd immunity or whatever. So if the NBA is like trying to create a bubble so people do not get it, they'll fail. I'm telling you right now. If they think, if we just enter into a world of like, listen, coronavirus is here and we just got to get through it, then they'll continue. My guess is they'll start, they'll stop, and then they'll come up with a reason, because everyone will say, obviously, at the end of the day, money talks, right? At the end, it will be like, either you can play or you can not. It's your choice. But we can't protect this whole thing. And I think that'll lead towards everything. You can go to the concert or game or not. It's up to you. You can make your own decision. You can go to work or not. I think employees will allow people to make a decision on that. You can or you cannot. But people think like we're going to operate our lives without coronavirus or a magical vaccine is going to cure 8 billion people in the world. They're sadly, and I think once again, it's just where I get my news from and where other people get their news from. If other people think like, if we just walk around and we social distance and we wear masks everywhere, this thing will die down. Clearly, it's not. Like, we tried that, it didn't work. So we'll find out the end result. But what I don't know is, I don't know the NBA and what their plan is. How important is money to them? Which is very important. For players who have a short window, how important is money to them? So I think that's stake here.
We're seeing players like Avery Bradley and Trevor Ariza dropping out and pulling out of going to the bubble because of family reason, health issues. Do you think a lot more players are going to continue to drop out? Start over. You got muted again. Are you using a Bluetooth speaker?
No.
Oh, I hear you now.
Good to go?
Yeah. Just don't move again.
I don't think that they will. I think some players will drop out, but the issue is it's only 8 games. So, like, guys leave 500,000 on the table or whatever it may be. But will players sit out next year and give up $12 million? I don't know if that will happen. So I can see guys backing out of the bubble. Listen, once again, the NBA is just trying to placate the TV deal. It comes about money. It comes about the collective bargaining agreement and stuff like that. So I think the 8 games in the regular season, the 8 games left, those aren't going to be that great. But I do think if it does continue to go and it goes all through, I think the playoffs will be really interesting to watch.
Right. We're looking at the NBA actually opened up like another extended period for transactions and players to be signed to these teams. And I think one player that keeps standing out is Jamal Crawford. Do you think he'll actually get picked up this time? And do you know why he hasn't been picked up?
That's a good question. He had 51 points his last game.
Right. I don't really get it.
I don't really have a reason. Like, when I was thinking the NBA was going last year, we got to remember. So people have to understand from a business standpoint, there's something called research and development, right? Every business has research and development. You were hired by NBC Sports, and you were clearly above what you were doing there because you moved on, right? So you were a valuable commodity to NBC. Right. So you did well and you moved on. Our only hope when we hire everybody is to turn out like you, right? That's just like a general, and that's across the board in corporate America, right?
Yeah.
So if you give a young guy a chance and he pans out for you, you know, the guy, I'll just bring up an interesting name to you, right? This guy in Oklahoma City on a 2-way contract. His last name is Dort. He started for Oklahoma City. They went 16-5 during the time that he started. He just signed a 4-year, $5.4 million deal for 4 years.
Right.
That's slightly above minimum.
Yeah.
So just think, the roster spot that they used on Dort, he panned out, just like you panned out, right? Other people don't pan out. Is Jamal Crawford in 100, 200 NBA players? Yeah. No question. But if you get a guy for 4 years at $5.4 million, you hit, and no one will celebrate this, but that is hitting the salary cap lottery. A guy who contribute for $1 million, you see what players make now? $8 million a year average. You got guys making $45 million. When you have a guy making $1.5 million and he works out for you, that is huge for your cap. Now your team and the flexibility you have. So I think a lot of organizations are looking at it like research and development. We're going to invest in a young guy. If he pans out, we're golden. But I will say, in this environment, no one's looking to invest in a young guy that's going to pan out. Jamal Crawford can produce results. It'd be really interesting to get picked up for the bubble. I would think that he would get picked up for the bubble because it's not a research and development project over these last years.
This current Celtics team was on a roll pretty much for the this season. They were 43-21, but obviously it gets abruptly stopped. Do you think it's going to be hard for teams, especially the Celtics, to pick up that momentum when they're getting back into the bubble?
I don't think so. And I think there's a lot of things that happen, right? I think Jaylen Brown will continue to get better. Tatum has ascended into a for sure top 10, if not top 7, if not top 5 player in the NBA. And that takes a tremendous amount of pressure off of Kemba Walker. So why I like the Celtics, if you go through the season, they haven't played that many games together as a whole group. They've been nicked up, guys been hurt or whatever, right? Sick. So I do love, like not just like love Kemba Walker as what we would consider your second option behind Tatum. I feel like Kemba's going to score 35 points a game at the second.
And he had all this time to heal his leg too, which I think is a pretty big key that people might forget about. So this Celtics thing was interesting. Yeah,
I think so. If Tatum is still Tatum, right? Like if Tatum is still Tatum, and Brown continues just to get better, like he worked his body just got better during this time, which I know it's not the same, but some people can just get better with age, and a lot of times when the wear and tear of the season on a young body does, a lot of people think it's the opposite, right? Like when you're young, you have to get used to playing 30 minutes a night, all these games, right? But I think guys like Jaylen, Tatum, and Kemba, and I really believe Kemba is going to be special in the playoffs. This is the reason why he came to Boston. So they're a really interesting team, but there's a lot of interesting teams out there. Philadelphia team, think about it. They were 29-2 at home, and they couldn't win a road game. Back to that in Orlando. Is that a road game or is that a home game? Or is that like a neutral site? So we don't
how does that even work? Yeah,
exactly. So it's just the NBA, I don't know what to expect, but I do like the fact that Tatum has solidified himself as that dude.
I saw a tweet earlier where someone was like, Jason Tatum's better than LeBron, and it's just like starting a whole war on Twitter as usual. But look, I mean, the schedule's supposed to drop tonight. We don't really know exactly who'll be playing who just yet. But how far do you think the Celtics can go or will go?
I was thinking.
All bias aside.
I keep it real.
I know.
And I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell you the reason why I keep it real. Because if the Celtics were, let's just say everything ended now, they play Philly in the first round, Toronto in the second round, Milwaukee in the third round. Like that road is a beast, right? That's just a tough, where Milwaukee's going to get like Brooklyn, and then they're going to Indiana, and then they can gear up for the Celtics, right? So a lot of people don't factor this stuff in, but I do believe that like rest matters So how healthy you are during this time. So I think that they can get to the finals, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to beat Philadelphia with Embiid and healthy. It's not going to be easy when Simmons just can't play on the road. He gets overwhelmed by the people.
Yeah.
So he's not clearly that's not going to be.
There's no people.
No Kardashians messing him up. You know, like, there's a lot of good things for Philly. You know, Al might be better. So I just I just look at it like it's a tough road. So because of that, I do think Milwaukee will get to the finals just because they got two cupcake games, round 1 and round 2, and then all of a sudden they're playing Philly, Toronto, or Boston, whoever gets out of this dogfight.
You mentioned those different factors. How big do you think it is to not have fans have that fan atmosphere during playoff games?
I think it's big for the Celtics because the Garden is the toughest to win.
Yeah.
It's like how many points is that giving you? You know, so it's I don't think it's gonna be they're gonna play bad. I just think the Garden makes it tough for other people.
Right.
It's in nature. It takes an incredible individual to go on the road and like not be bothered by anything. That's not easy to do. Most people are affected. And the NBA, the margin, like, you know, if you have a % worse on the road than you are at home, that's a huge difference. You can get your butt kicked by 15. So it's just, I just take all that, throw it all out because everyone's on neutral site. But I'm scared of Philly. I'm scared of Toronto. I am.
We'll wrap it up with this final question from Max Faber, who asked, who do you think will win the championship this year?
So it's only, I think it's going to be the Clippers, right? But that's assuming that no one gets corona. So if I could figure this out, this is what I would do.
Okay.
Say I was a betting man. This is what I would do. I would try to find out what team had the most people already get the virus. And I don't know if you can or cannot get it again.
Yeah.
But my guess is that if you already had it, you have a better chance of not getting it. I would look for a team like that. But if everything was NBA normal,
right,
I would pick the Clippers to win it all. They're so good defensively, so good on the defensive end. And they can beat the Lakers. They have bodies to throw at them. And Kawhi Leonard he's just so poised. But that might, I don't know, that might not come into play. Giannis, you know, like he might not get all emotional and stuff like that. So my guess is if the coronavirus does not affect the outcome of the NBA Finals, I would pick the Clippers.
I mean, if the Celtics could make it that far, that'd actually be a really fun matchup. Remember that game right before All-Star Weekend? It went to, was it double, triple overtime? I had a flight the next day. I think it was double, regular overtime. But that'd be a fun matchup. I'd like to see that.
Doc Rivers, you know, it's
right.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
There's so many storylines with that.
Yeah.
That'd be
Which
good.
we won't be there, and you won't be there.
I know. Are you going to the bubble? Will you be going?
No, so we'll be from Needham.
Oh, okay.
I think. I'm not sure how we're doing.
I think that is true. For those who don't know, Scal's on NBC Sports Boston, so when basketball comes back, make sure you're watching the Celtics. Scal, thank you so much for joining me today.
Do you do the same job for your new job as you did for your old job?
Yes, but it's a producer role now, so I'm doing a lot more and literally producing content on a regular basis. Well, I was producing before, but now it's more.
I would just say, after this interview, you better continue to go up.
Level up.
You can't.
I mean, the standard's so high. I don't even know. I need to talk to like Barack Obama next or something.
Hold on. Just get like Danny Ainge or somebody like that.
Right.
You know,
I'm gonna need your contact person.
Jaylen Brown.
I think Jaylen would be a good one. We'll put a call out to Jaylen. You can help with that. Thank you so much, Gal. Enjoy your weekend.
You too. See ya.
Bye. Thank you all for watching.